Welcome to Klein Farm Channel. I'm Tyler, and today I'm going to be doing a different kind of video. I'm going to be doing a gun comparison video. I got two 380s and a 9mm. I'm going to show you the differences on them and tell you a little bit about them. Now, these two are 380. This one's 9mm. This is the 380 I used to shoot the guy, a few years ago when I had a guy try to rob and kill me, and this little gun saved my life. I saved his life. He didn't die. He's in prison. He's in prison for a while yet. But this little tiny little gun that fits in the palm of my hand saved my life. And the big thing is the size difference between these two pistols here. They're not very far off from being the same size bullet. Now, I was looking hard, and I don't think I have any 9mm shells anywhere. That's my wife's gun, not my gun. So, I don't know. I was looking, I couldn't find any to show you the size comparison between the 380 bullet and the 9mm bullet, but they're very, very similar. But I do have Colt 45 bullets to show you. Right there. It's a Colt 45 pistol round. You can also put them in 45 caliber rifles. I had a lever action Colt 45 rifle. I could put this bullet in. This is a pistol round, but they also make a longer one about that long for rifle. But they're really hard to find anymore. But I could put this round in my pistol and in my rifle. And in the rifle round, it'd be the same size ball there. It would just have a longer shell there on it with more gunpowder in it to shoot it farther for the rifle, have longer range. Right here, this is a 380 hollow point. A very, very useless little thing. Like I said, I shot a guy right in his face with one of these, and it didn't stop him very much at all. It just went inside his head a couple inches and mushroomed out, and he barely even felt it. Like, he was on so much drugs. The police told me that it was like he got numbed for a surgery, and he didn't feel any bullets going into him at all. But I will never, ever use a hollow point bullet with a 380 again. Except maybe like target practice or something, because that's about all they're good for. Maybe shooting small game, squirrels or something. Now, these are the bullets I have in it right now. Full metal jacket. And these are 382. But they have a snub nose on them, flat tip nose, and I like these ones a little bit better. They look a little bit more menacing to me than the round tip. I don't know, it just looks like the blunt one would hurt more. But for those of you that don't know, a hollow point bullet, right there you can see why they call it hollow point, because the tip of it is hollow. And around the outside of the shell there, well, the outside of the bullet there, it's meant to break apart into a bunch of pieces when it goes into the target or body, whatever you're shooting. The bullet itself there is meant to break apart to inflict as much damage as possible and just rip everything apart. But the bad side of that is if you're using it for self-defense and you shoot a man and it hits bone, this little bullet does not have enough power to rip itself apart. Like, it'll just get stuck. Like, It's a lot more powerful than a 22, but from my personal experience, will never ever use a hollow point again for self-defense unless it is an absolute necessity. I have no other choice. That's what I have in the gun at the moment. But a full metal jacket like this, a solid tip round, I prefer lead rounds, like on the 45 Colt here. Good piece of lead. Because lead will break up too when it hits bone. But if you get hit with one of these, it ain't getting stuck in your body. If you weigh 500 pounds, this thing ain't getting stuck in your body. It's going straight through you. And you gotta rip a big hole wherever it goes. You can hunt bears with 45 Colt. But one of these solid copper tip ones, they're not going to break apart. They're going to go straight through you too. So if you shoot somebody with one of these, more than likely it's going to go out the back of them. Unless they're a pretty big boy, then it'll probably go in pretty far, then it'll get stuck. Depending on how close you are when you shoot them, or whatever. I really wish I had a 9mm bullet to show you the size comparison between the 380 and the 9mm, but I don't, so you're just gonna have to bear with me here on that. But right here is the size comparison between the 380 and the 45 Colt. I'll get another one of these out and show you there. They're both 380. And the 45 Colt there. Now, the 9mm round would be just a little bit taller than the 380. Not very much. Just a little bit. It'd be the same size around. It'd be the same bullet size. Like 9mm and 380 right there, the very tip. It'd be about the same size, same exact size as the 380. It would just have a longer shell to have more gunpowder in it, to have it more power behind it. Now, with more power behind it, a 9mm hollow point would definitely do a lot more damage than a 380 hollow point. But I've had hollow points from my Colt 45 revolver before, and a hollow point is this big, it will destroy anything you shoot with it. I shot a watermelon with it, and it ripped it to pieces. So, hollow points are good, but hollow points are not good with a 380 ACP. I said what I said, and I will stand by it. Hollow point in the 380 is junk. And these here are very well, I don't remember exactly, it was almost 7 years ago that happened. But this might be the same box I used, the hollow points that I shot the guy with. And you see, I didn't use very much more of them, because they're not very good. And I am not bragging. I am not bragging whatsoever. You never, ever want to shoot somebody. Never. Unless you're absolutely positive your life is on the line, you're going to die. If you do not, that is the only reason to shoot somebody. Other than to save somebody else's life. If life is on the line, that's the only time you can pull the trigger. If somebody has a gun to your head and you know that they're going to do it, you can do it. If somebody's threatening your family, somebody's threatening your kids, yeah, shoot them. Somebody breaks into your house in the middle of the night, that's a tender subject. If they have a gun, I'm not getting into that. Because 9 times out of 10, when somebody points a gun at you, they're not intending to shoot you. They're cowards. A coward points a gun at anybody he sees because he's afraid of guns and he knows you're afraid of guns. I've had a lot of people point guns at me. I've had a lot of people point guns at me. I've only ever shot one person though. Because you know what? A lot of them people, you can just punch them right in the face and they ain't gonna shoot you. But you'd know if somebody is actually gonna do it. I mean, sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. But it's like seeing a snake. A garter snake and a rattlesnake. I don't know. A lot of people, a lot of city people probably wouldn't understand that. But you can know by looking at somebody if they're gonna shoot you or not. Or if they're just a coward. But I saved his life. I shot him 3 times. He had a 45 to my head, and that was this bullet. This big bullet right here. Well, I think he had a 45 ACP, not a Colt 45. 45 ACP is a little bit smaller than this one, but it's still a 45, but a Colt 45 is a little bit bigger. He had that held to my head for half an hour. And I did everything possible to talk him out of it. But that's a big bullet. That is a big bullet. That thing can decapitate you. If you get shot in the chin with that, it's gonna blow your chin off, you're gonna die. If you get shot in the head, unless you those creeps the side of your head, you gonna die. But I shot him in the face with one of these, 380 hollow point, and I was aiming right here, but I missed. And I'm glad I missed, and I'm sure he's glad I missed. That saved his life at one point, but I hit him about right there, right in that area there, and it went in back into his skull, and it got caught just a couple inches in there, and it didn't hurt him at all. I mean, while I looked him in the face in court, you couldn't even see a scar like it. And I did that, and I got him in the chest twice. Now, I did that while he was holding a gun to my head, and I was driving my car, because he was in the back seat, and I was in the driver's seat, and we were driving. And I don't know if I want to tell the whole story. It's a very long story, and it's all, if you Google it and look up on the news, you can see it. But you can see it, the whole story pretty much. But I don't know if I want to tell the whole story because it's a lot of personal information. But he was holding a gun to my head, and I was driving. I was going to ATM. If I would have been carrying cash on me, I'd been dead, completely dead. He would have killed me right away and took my cash, threw my naked body in the woods. Because the police told me that they thought he killed 6 people before and did that. And I really thought I was done for. I really did. But anyway, I was driving my Cadillac. He was in the back seat, and there was a girl in the passenger seat. And he had the 45 to my head, pushing my head sideways with it. And I had my 380. This one right here. I have my 380 in my driver's side door there in the little compartment on the door there. And I saw an opportunity that I hadn't seen in the previous half hour. And I thought, well, this is now or never. I gave him every opportunity. I begged him. I said, okay, I'll let you go. I mean, I'll consider it a joke. I won't call the cops. You can just walk away. But he was very, very belligerent, very nasty about it. And I saw the only opportunity I had to save my life, and I took it. I grabbed with my left hand while I was still driving, quick draw, my left hand 380 out of the car door over my left shoulder, right that, while he was in the back seat. Bang, 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 bang. And the gun jammed. 380s are horrible guns, especially with hollow points, because the hollow point made it jam. And I shot 4 rounds and I hit him 3 times. But he was in the back seat and he still had the gun in his hand after I shot him. Like, he didn't realize what was happening. So I threw the gun down because I thought I shot it out of bullets, because all the adrenaline. I threw the gun down. I jumped over the back seat while the car was still moving, and we hit a parked car or a light post or something. We were in town, and I just got on top of him and started fighting for my life. He still had his gun in his hand, and I knocked his gun out of his hand, and he opened up the back door somehow, and we got out into the street and started fighting in the street. And I fell down and I grabbed a hold of his leg. He dragged me along the street for a few feet, ripped my knees open. Then I got up, started chasing him. He ran about 100 yards and he fell over and he would have been dead. But I saved his life. I got the police there, I got the ambulance there, and they brought him in a helicopter to the hospital. And I forgive him. I have no hard feelings against him whatsoever. It was the drugs. He had that much heroin in him that he didn't feel a thing, and I don't think it was anything personal. I mean, I do think a girl set me up, but that's a story for another day if I ever decide to tell it. But yeah, I saved his life. I followed after him. And when he fell, I stood over top of him and I went and I knocked on the door, because I was pretty much naked except for my underwear. And I had my phone was in my car way over there, 100 yards away. And I just knocked on the door. I said, please help, call ambulance, call 911. And I stood there with him until they got there. And all these cops showed up, the ambulance showed up. They ran right past me. They knew exactly who he was. They walked right up to him. They knew exactly who he was. And the police there were very, very nice, very friendly. I have nothing bad to say about them. Very good people. They were very, very nice to me. They never treated me bad at all, because they knew him. And I think if they didn't know him, it would have been maybe a different situation. But me in my underwear covered in blood, head to my toes, yeah, so that probably helped me out a little bit too. But so I have a little bit of PTSD from that, and if I'm a little weird sometimes or do strange stuff, that's a little bit why, because I have PTSD from that. But pretty much the gun that he had against my head was about this size, maybe a little bit bigger, like physical size. I mean, the 45 ACP is a lot bigger than a 9mm, but physical size, it was comparable to this one. But I have no hard feelings. No hard feelings at all against him. Like, I forgave him right away. I would have dropped it and I would have left and been happy to escape that situation. If he would have just put his gun down and let me go, if he would have got out of my vehicle, we wouldn't have had any problems. But he was going to kill me. There is no doubt in my mind about that. He was going to kill me, and it was clear case self-defense. And I would be dead. I would be absolutely dead. They might not even have found my body yet if I hadn't had this gun. So, I wholeheartedly, it's not loaded, I wholeheartedly believe in the Second Amendment and the right to bear arms and the right to conceal carry and the right to open carry. And I think it is absolutely nonsense that each state has different laws about it. Because the Constitution of the United States of America, Second Amendment, gives you the right to bear arms. It doesn't give the state the right to make different laws about it. The United States Constitution gives you the right to bear arms. And I would be dead right now without this gun. And it took me a long time to get this back. I got it back. It took me over a year to get it back, but I got it back. They didn't want to give it back right away, but they legally have to give it back. But, anyhowser, let's get back here. This is my wife's 380. It's a Ruger. And it's pretty similar to mine. It doesn't have a safety or anything. You just keep one in the chamber or you don't. But my advice, if you're going to carry a gun, you keep a bullet in that chamber. That saved my life too. If I would have had to rack in a load, he would have shot me dead. I would not have had time. It would have been very, very close. Because I would have had to take my hand off the wheel and use two hands to cock it. By that time, he would have put a bullet through my head. Do not carry a gun without a round in the chamber. If you have a safety, that's awesome. If you don't have a safety, oh well. If you're afraid of it, don't carry it, because you're going to hurt yourself. Use common sense. Learn. Get experience on it. Shoot 500 rounds out of it before you start carrying it. Get experience with it. Do not carry an empty chamber, because you might not have that half a second to rack one in. Then this is my 380. It's a Taurus TCP tactical compact pistol. I've had this for probably close to 8 to 10 years now. And it's not my favorite gun, but I'm never going to get rid of it now. For one thing, it's not worth very much. 380 like these they're only worth like $150 to $200 brand new, because they're just little guns. I mean, it's just a little bit bigger than a 22 pretty much, and it doesn't have very much knockdown power. It's a good backup weapon if you're carrying a 9mm or a 45 or a 357 or something. This would be a good backup weapon to have in your boot or in your car door or something like that. Now, a bigger pistol here, like the 9mm, I never had a 9mm myself. I've always preferred 45s, but this is my wife's, and I don't think she's ever even shot it once. It still has factory oil on it. But I don't like the I don't like the weight ratio on it, and I don't like the way it handles and holds. Like, the sights are nice, but I mean, it doesn't fit my hand very well, and it's very off balance. It's very off balance. Like, it's very nose heavy. Now, I don't have a clip in there with shells in it, but it's still very nose heavy. But with a bigger gun, bigger guns have better options, and it does have a safety right here. With the red dot, that means it's on fire. When you can't see the red dot, that means the safety's on and it can't shoot. Now, there's not a bullet in the chamber. There's not even a clip in here. So, this is safe to do at the moment, but I do not advise it. I'm just doing it to show you. Now, this is modeled after a 1911 pistol. It has a hammer back here you can manually cock. Oh, I might have to put the clip in to do that. No, I don't gotta put the clip in, I just gotta use more muscle. Now, right there, you can hold the hammer back like a revolver, because this is a 1911 style pistol. And to do that, you can carry it around like that. That way, all you gotta do is pull up out of the holster and pull the trigger. But I don't recommend that. The good thing is to keep it like that. Then if you're in a situation you need it, just pull the hammer back there in your holster, or pull up quick and do it. But this little lip here is a pain in the butt for that. But the good thing about these, with the hammer on the back, you can release the hammer without the bullet, without the gun going off. Like, say if you have the hammer back and you don't want to shoot it, you want to put it back into safety or something, you can hold your thumb on the hammer very firmly and softly pull the trigger, then let it go. It's hard to do with one hand. Might be able to do it better with my right hand. So there, safety's off, it's ready to fire. You pull that trigger, it's gonna go. Kind of seemed pretty time delayed there, but let's see here again. So, you pull the trigger, it's gonna go off. Now, this is called dry firing. You absolutely do not want to dry fire your weapons. It will break the springs and stuff inside, but a couple times won't hurt it. Just to show you here. And absolutely never, ever, ever do it if you have the clip in, or if there's bullets in it. You will shoot, and you will shoot a hole in your wall, or you will hit somebody, and do not do that. That is very stupid. I'm doing it to show you. Now, if you want to release the hammer without a bullet going off, without the gun going off, put your thumb there on the hammer, pull the trigger slowly, just let it up like that. See that? I very, very wholeheartedly prefer revolvers over 1911 style. A revolver just has better weight ratio to me. Like, I like swinging my pistols around, showing off a little bit. And the weight ratio on this, it's not very good for that. You notice, you're going to shoot yourself in the gut if you do that with this gun, with the safety off. Now, let's put the safety on. Let's pull the hammer back and put the safety on. Well, I just shot myself in the gut. Well, I don't think that was supposed to happen. Never ever mess around like this with a loaded pistol, because you see, I would have just shot myself. So, never have your guns loaded when you're messing around with them, just looking at them, because accidents happen. They happen to the best people. I don't remember the fellow's name, but the fastest quick draw guy with the revolver in the world, modern times, he shot himself in the leg. I mean, like, pulling his gun so fast he shot himself in the leg, and he's probably the most experienced pistol shooter in the world. It happens. But here, I want to show you this. I want to see if it'll do it with the safety on. Well, I don't know. I don't like this design whatsoever. So I was here messing around with it with the camera off. And as soon as you put the safety on, if the hammer's back, it goes off. So that wasn't really anything I did. Like, I should have checked and looked before I did that. But if you have one of these guns, I would take it back to the gun shop and sell it and buy a better gun. It's a Zigana T from Turkey, 9mm. Now I don't know. I would have to go to a firing range and to make absolute positive sure. But if you have the hammer back like that and you turn the safety on, and I don't know if it will shoot a bullet out of the chamber. It probably will. So that is a huge red flag for me. I would never carry this gun. I don't like keeping the safety on. I don't like messing around with guns with safeties, because safeties are very dumb in my opinion. But it is also dumb to keep the hammer back. Like, you never want to walk around with your hammer back like that. Because anything pulls the trigger, it's going to go off. But that just amazes me, that when you put the safety on that, it'll shoot. It'll go off if the hammer's back. Like, on my 45 I had before, my 45 ACP pistol, which is 1911 style like this, with the hammer back, you put the safety on, you couldn't pull the trigger. The trigger was locked. But on this one, you have the hammer back and you just turn the safety off, or turn the safety on, it'll shoot. That ain't very safe to me. That's pretty ridiculous. Here's the clip for the 9mm here. You can hold 14 rounds in it, or 15 there. So you can hold 15 rounds in there. And in the 380, you can hold 6 in the clip and 1 in the chamber. So you can have 7 rounds in the 380. And I had 7 rounds. I had 1 in the chamber when I had my little gunfight there. And I shot 4 rounds, and I thought I shot all 7 in that chaos of the situation, but it just jammed. It's right there. You can see the little lip right there, that shiny piece there. The hollow point got stuck on there, and that's why it jammed. But I would prefer this 380 any day of the week over that 9mm there. The Zigana. This is a Taurus. It served me very well. It saved my life. This is a Ruger. It's pretty much the same thing as my Taurus, but Ruger is a little bit better known of a name for pistols. But in the long run, I would prefer a 45 revolver or a 45 ACP. I had a 45 ACP before, and that thing jammed just as bad as this 380. Revolver won't jam. The revolver is a very good gun, and I don't have one at the moment. I need to get another one, but they're the best gun you can have. You can't hold as many rounds, but you can hold bigger rounds, and you have a lot more accuracy, and it's not gonna jam. And you can trust a revolver. These little plastic guns, you can't really trust them when it comes down to it. But that'll be the video for today. Here's the box that the 9mm came in. It says you got a T, that's one there, and here's all the KF, Sport, M16, and S. But like I said, I would not recommend one of them at all. That's a piece of junk in my opinion. If you have any questions, comment below. Please like, share, subscribe. Please subscribe, watch the whole video, and have a great day. Thanks for watching.